Hey, and welcome to my house and to June. Today is June, if you can believe this. Usually at this time of the year, we are trying our best to be outside, and this is the first year that we actually are. So Miss Moon and mine's plan this week was to continue with some review from the beginning of the semester, and I hope you're excited because today we're going to talk about the pottery wheel. So let's get started. Okay, so this next part is really going to be review of where we started. So the first thing we need to do is to talk about hand position. Oh wait, not these hands? Okay, so we're going to talk about hand position. What about these hands? Tiny hands, how funny is that? Ah! Okay, I've been alone too long. All right, so let's go back to what we were doing in class. So when we have our ball of clay that is sitting on the wheel, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take our hands on the sides of the clay and we're going to push in. So if this is difficult for you to kind of envision, sometimes what I'll do is you can wad up a piece of paper, or in this case, a sock. Wonderful sock. Thank you, my husband. Okay, so I have my sock and my hands are going to go on the sides of the clay, pushing in. If you look at it from this direction, this is where the clay is sitting, not on my fingers. Remember, those are wiggly. So I'm going to push in and I'm going to roll my thumbs down. So that's our first position in centering. Then we're going to do the second step. The second step is coning the clay. So we're going to lift our thumbs and angle our hands in like a triangle. See how my hands are forming a triangle? And then using our palms, we're going to push together and up into that praying position off the top. Very good. So I'm going to review that second step with you again. I'm in here on the sides, first position. I'm going to lift my thumbs. I'm going to angle my hands in and up into that praying position. So that's going to be your phase 2. So what I would like you to do is I'm going to do this again, phase 1 and phase 2, and I want you to do it along with me. So hands on side, thumbs down, release our thumbs, and cone it up. Very good. Okay, now we're going to move into how do we bring the cone back down. And this is kind of the step where most of us got our last checkoff on the pottery wheel. So just as a reminder, the outside hand will be dependent on the direction that the wheel is turning. Because today we're not working directly on the wheel, you can use a hand of your choice for the outside. But the idea is once I'm up into that praying position, I need to bring the clay back down into that hockey puck shape. And so I'm going to have my outside hand. I want to remind you that my elbow is going to go from my leg into my hip. So I have a nice steady hand, just like this. My other hand, using this part right here, I'm going to karate chop down, 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 down on the top. Good. And then once I get that clay down, I go back into that first position. Okay, so let's review that together. So I've brought my clay up, so now we're going to go into third position. My hand is going to shift into my body, karate chop down, 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 and then back to first position. Good work. Okay, now that I've got back into that hockey puck position, remember we're going to do this until the clay becomes centered. Ways that I will know that it is centered is that the clay will run smoothly between my hands. I won't notice any pulling back and forth of my hands as I'm going. And at this point, I'm going to do now, which is making an opening. Now this is a newer skill for some of you. Most of you attempted this before we left for the semester, just kind of you know, hey, give it a try. I want to talk to you a little bit today about how we would proceed from this hockey puck to making an opening and then ultimately pulling it out into kind of a bowl shape, which was our ultimate goal for you this semester. So thinking of that idea, once again, if I'm down in this hockey shape, I'm going to make an opening into the middle. So using a pointer finger, I'm going to come down into the clay, and I want to push my finger down in the clay. Now, one problem that you're going to run into when you do this is if you go down too far, now you've made a hole in the bottom of your bowl. So if you're on your clay and you're worried about that you're going to go too far and you're not sure, sometimes what I'll do is I'll take my finger on the side and I'll look and go, okay, right at my knuckle is all the way down to the batten. So if I come in and go a little bit past maybe this knuckle here, then I should be okay. So I'm going to make my opening into my clay. Now, when you're looking at ceramic forms, you're going to see two basics. You're going to see a form that goes up in a square shape, like a cylinder, and you're going to see a bowl shape, right, like a U shape. And so when we begin to move on to the next step, we have to think about, okay, we've got this little opening right now. Do we want the clay to go straight out and up, or do we want the clay to begin to flare out? And for a bowl, we want to flare out. So this is what that's going to look like. I'm making my opening in my clay, and then I'm going to angle my finger towards the outside. Or I may take my thumb and angle it towards the outside. So what that would look like is that I'm coming in and creating a V shape in the clay. Now this next part is going to be a little tricky to show, and when I attach on here later a video of actual on the pottery wheel, you're going to be able to have a clearer idea of kind of what we're doing. Once you have opened your clay up into that V shape, now what we want to do is we want to take the wall of the clay and we want to begin to stretch and force it out. And so in ceramics, we call this pulling. And the idea behind the pulling is that my outside finger is a little bit lower than my inside finger. It looks like this. It's kind of like a claw, right? So when I come down into the clay, I've got my finger on the outside here and my finger on the inside. And then what I do, because this finger is right there, right, is that when I bring my finger up the side here, and you can see it because it's a sock, that I'm pushing my finger out and up, which then forces the clay to stretch, and you get all of that thick stuff down on the bottom. For those of you who had started to kind of stretch forms, you're beginning to see that thickness down on the bottom was really common, and now you can pull it up into the walls. So let's go ahead and review, and I'm going to have you do this with me. I know this feels kind of ridiculous, but we're going to practice these hand positions together, starting all the way back at the beginning. So I'm going to do the hand position. I want you to do it with me, and then we'll do it kind of a little bit more in real time. Okay, so first positions, hands are on the side of the clay. I'm going to go in and roll my thumbs down. Very good. Okay, then I'm going to release my thumbs. I'm going to cone my clay, coming in that triangle, cone, 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 up into the point. Now I need to bring it back down. My outside hand tucks into my hip, and I'm going to karate chop on top of that cone, down, 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 until I get to that hockey puck shape. Now my hands are going to go back to first position, and if my clay is centered, now I can make my opening. To make my opening, I'm going to take my pointer finger, I'm going to go down into the clay, about halfway. Very good. I like to keep my other hand here to help stabilize the side, and then I'm going to angle my opening either with my finger or my thumb. So now I have a V shape. I'm going to come in with my hand here, I'm going to hook my thumb, and then using my claw, I'm going to come out at an angle. I would continue to do this pull motion until I get the thickness of clay I want and the size of pull I want. So now let's try that again together, this time a little bit closer to what we would see in real time. First position, in and down, release my thumbs, cone up, shift my hand, karate chop down, back to first position, stabilize, make my opening, angle my opening, come in with my pull up at the angle that I would like. Continue to pull until I get the thickness and size bowl that I want. So good job, you guys.